Hello guys and gals, it's Soulfax here and welcome to the War Thunder Dev Server 1.61. Yay, I finally managed to get on one and I played a couple of hours, so I got some recording to show you, but let's talk about the Dev Server and the new features that are implemented into the game into the next update. So the first thing you're going to notice is that everything looks kind of weird because there are these weird green things on all of my vehicles. For all of you that haven't been playing this game for very long, this game used to have daily bonuses for your first victory. For every first victory with a vehicle, you would get double experience. Now, I don't know if this is just a legacy from the old times when just these things were a thing, but from the looks of it, the daily first victory bonuses are back, and apparently in style because every single vehicle has ×5. That's probably not going to make it in the final release of this update, I think. But anyhow, other than that, not a lot of change with the UI, which is a good thing because Gaijin loves changing things in the UI every single update, which makes playing this game kind of annoying. Moving on, the second big thing is the introduction of a couple of new vehicles that a lot of people are very interested about. And the first vehicle I'm going to be talking about is, of course, the Brummbar. Oh yes, it is the Brummbar. Look at how beautiful it is. But anyway, a lot of people were very upset when this thing was announced to be a premium, and I understand why a lot of people were upset because I was really looking forward to this vehicle. But after playing it on the test server, playing a little bit in the test drive and playing against it in custom battles, I understand why this vehicle is a premium, because it's horrible. This vehicle is essentially an artillery piece. The cannon that is equipped on it, the 150mm Stug 43L12 howitzer cannon, is what the name suggests. It's a howitzer. It's got a muzzle velocity of 200 meters per second. That is horrible. That is the worst muzzle velocity in the game by far. And while the upper front plate is 100mm of armor sloped, the lower front plate, or the lower glazes, is only 50, so this thing effectively has absolutely no armor, because if you want to use this thing you need to get up and close to the enemy and shoot him in the face from a couple of meters, and at that range everybody's going to be able to hit your lower plate. Despite what I said, there is a certain charm to the Brummbar that I just can't pinpoint. There it is. This is the cannon. Now the cannon is freaking fun. It's so awesome to fire this cannon, but it's also such a bad cannon, and it's also the reason why this thing is premium. The reason the Brummbar is premium is very simple. It doesn't have a proper anti-tank cannon, and every single other 5.0 battle rating tank has a proper anti-tank cannon, and this thing just can't compete in that lineup with this howitzer, and the howitzer does do a lot of damage, and it's got a lot of penetration, especially with the heat round, but still, the muzzle velocity that this thing has is so horrible that you're going to be struggling to hit targets that are over 100 meters away. It is so horrible, but it's also so freaking satisfying to do this to little Russian tanks. This thing is almost like a German KV-2, but just without a turret. I just wish that Germans did something as cool and as fun as a KV-2. But alas, this is the closest that we're going to come to a German KV-2 in the game, if you don't count Dicker Max, which I don't because it's a proper tank destroyer. Oh, I almost forgot to mention the other obvious thing why this thing is premium. Because kaching kaching, Gaijin wants that money, Gaijin wants that German fanboy money. Well, honestly, they're probably going to get it because this thing is so much fun to play, but I also understand where Gaijin is coming from. There's not a lot of interesting vehicles left in World War II for them to add into the game unless they expand in other nations like France and like Poland and stuff like that. With the Germans, the Sturmtiger and the Brummbar are the only two tanks left for them to add. And the Brummbar is in the game, which is a good thing. Unfortunately, it is a premium, but still we can play it if you dish out 2,500 Golden Eagles or whatever the price tag actually is. But anyhow, moving on to some other vehicles that I played on the Dev Server. Yes, the Dev Server. I completely forgot what I was talking about. A new challenger approaches, fighting for the title of heavyweight champion Sikabliat Russian bias. It is the awesome T-62. Not much to say about this one, it's the T-62. It's basically a T-54 with a bigger cannon. It's got a 150mm cannon, so yeah. If you're wondering, I said 115, not 50. So really, it's nothing special. Next! Now that is one beautiful aircraft. And from what I've seen and from what I've read about this aircraft, it's supposed to be the best P-47 in the game. This is the P-47N-15 and is the last P-47 to be introduced into this game. I'm just kidding, there's probably like 100 P-47s that get still introduced to the game. It looks great. I don't know how it flies because I just don't have it unlocked, so I couldn't unlock it. But it looks to be a 4.7 vehicle. I think that's arcade battles. That might be arcade battles, I'm not sure, but it's a P-47, so it's gotta be good. Now, moving on to something that's more up my alley. Look at it. Just look at it. This tank looks ridiculous. This is the Ram 2, the first Canadian tank in the game, or as the Americans call it, the M4A5. Yeah, this thing is a tier 2 premium, I think. Just look how stupid it looks. Looks like some kind of ungodly abomination, a creation, something in between a Sherman and an M3 Lee. It looks so stupid, but in theory it should be decent. The frontal armor is pretty decent on this tank for 3.7, and it also equipped with a British 57mm 6-pounder QFF Mark II cannon, Mark III, which is also present, I think, on the Cromwell Mark I, and the Cromwell Mark I's cannon is pretty decent for its tier. But anyhow, it's a premium tank, so you gotta pay to play it, but it's not very expensive, and what else to say is there to say about this? Moving on. The last thing we're talking about is the introduction of a new mechanics. Yes, it's that time again, but no, it's not the air reloading zones. It is another attempt of Gaijin to somehow make this game more noob friendly, I think. It is the crew replacement mechanic, which it does what it sounds like it does. It replaces one of your dead crew members in the tank after the tank is dead. But unlike the last time they tried to pitch this with the trauma pack stingies, you can only perform this in captured zones, which are under your control. So is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? I just don't know yet. It looks to be a very interesting addition because you can only do it in cap zones, but if you could do it also at the spawn point, that would also be a very good thing. Instead of driving all the way to a cap point on a map that only probably has 2 cap points, unless it's a game mode where it has 6 cap points or 3 cap points. I said 6, I don't know why I said 6. There's only one cap point that you can use, so if you could use this thing in the spawn point, that would be very, very useful and would also deter spawn camping somewhat. And that's pretty much it for this update. There's only a few new vehicles arriving, only a few new mechanics, but what this update is focusing on, from the looks of it, is actual polish to the game, polishing both the sound design, the gameplay, the visuals, and just pretty much everything, which is a good thing because the game already has quite a few tanks and aircrafts, and what War Thunder needs right now is a little bit of polish. I hope you enjoyed this video. My name has been Soulfax, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.